Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Zone to Speak podcast. I'm your host, Juliana. Hey, everyone. Before we dive in, a quick shout out to the amazing brands that I use and love. And the best part is when you shop with them, you are directly supporting this podcast so I can keep going. Here's the lineup. Cyc Plus, smart pumps for the perfect tire pressure. Down the road, cycling apparel that looks good and performs. New Zest, clean, plant-based protein and nutrition. Oleos, wellness shots with adaptogens and neurotropics for energy, focus, and recovery. Code Age, high-quality supplements like multivitamins, creatine, and collagen. Loop earplugs for travel, sleep, recovery, and noise control. Clearly not coffee. A smooth, caffeine-free energy alternative. Heal, quick, plant-based meals for busy or bikepacking days. Shocks, open-ear headphones that keep you safe while training. Frey skincare designed for active people and sweaty rides. All the links, discounts, and codes are in the episode description, so check them out, grab some great deals, and know you're helping keep Zone to Speak rolling. Now, let's get into the episode. Today on Zone to Speak, I am talking to someone who brings not just speed and skills to the bike, but also brings personality, curiosity, and unapologetic authenticity. My guest is Timia Porter, cyclist, community builder, and the voice behind The Carbon Queen, a presence in the sport known for sharp insights, bold energy, and a real-world approach to training, racing, and life on two wheels.
Yeah.
She's an athlete who brings neurodivergent awareness into the conversation around performance and intentional living, and that makes her one of the most compelling voices in the sport right now. Let's get into it. Timia, welcome to Zone to Speak.
Thanks for having me. It's amazing hearing the intro. I'm like, who is this woman? I can't wait to meet her.
Love it. So every rider has a path into cycling that is shaped by a blend of passion, circumstance, personality, chance. How did you first get into cycling? What's your story? What was the spark that made you take it from a hobby to something that became central in your life?
Honestly, cycling became a way for me to escape my physical surroundings, just the relationship that I was in the home. And at the time, COVID came about. And before COVID, my escape was soccer. And since we weren't allowed to gather due to the COVID restrictions, I had to find a way to not only escape, but to stay conditioned and fit. Should I survive COVID, fingers crossed, and want to go back to playing soccer, I definitely wanted to pick up something that could keep me in shape. And so from there, riding solo, naturally, when you're doing something by yourself outside, you tend to run into other people doing hopefully the same thing that you're doing. And then from there, just being invited to group rides and meeting different people, being introduced to different people. And yeah, just meeting my fiance, who's also who's also a cyclist and was a crit racer at the time. One thing just led to another, honestly, all just from wanting to escape my environment, also wanting to stay level-minded mentally and emotionally. That is ultimately what led me to where I am today.
Amazing. And I see you saying all this with a big smile. Anyone listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, you can see, but if you're listening, Timia, the Carbon Queen has a big smile telling this story. And I think a lot of people actually found cycling during COVID. So I'm not surprised. Yeah. And how, You describe yourself as neuro minded, and in cycling, the mental component is massive. Can you break it down what neuro means for you in the context of cycling, and how do your understanding of the mind influences the way you train, race, and recover?
Yes, absolutely. Um, Being neurodivergent means, in the most simplest terms, is that my brain is short on dopamine. And we all human beings need dopamine to complete even the smallest of tasks, right? So we need the dopamine. And before I was diagnosed, I never understood what my craving was for, like, speed and just doing things that were very daring and just a little risky in regards to, like, adventures and activities, like wanting to jump out of a plane, wanting to ride motorcycles, and go skydiving and all that crazy stuff. And so with cycling, it gives me that boost of dopamine that I need, whether I'm just cruising around the neighborhood or actually in the middle of a crit race. With that dopamine, it helps me focus. It helps me focus. It helps me regulate. It helps me just, everything seems clearer. Everything seems on point. I feel the energy and the motivation to do a thing. Whether it's like I've already received my dopamine, or I know that by doing this particular activity, in this case, cycling, I'm going to be receiving the dopamine on the back end. And so that's ultimately how the two go hand in hand together. It's really a way of self-regulating. And a lot of us all have a thing that we use to regulate. Mine is cycling and medication. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what helps you stay level, which
It
makes
helps.
sense. Like you said, everyone has their own thing. Of course, cycling also helps me a lot. Or I have a dog, so just walking my dog also really helps me just to keep breathing.
Right, right. It really, being neurodivergent and an athlete, it helps us stay on a routine, because without a routine, my brain can feel pretty scattered. Even like conversations, doing interviews, like I have literally 12 responses that are trying to come out of my mouth all at the same time, and without something to regulate my brain and my feelings and my emotions, it can sometimes come off like all over the place. Like, I'll take you on the story over here, and then we'll come back over here, then we're over there, then we're over here, and then finally we're back at where we started.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's
Right,
all good.
right.
You go by the Carbon Queen,
Yes,
both on and off the bike,
yes,
and the identity carries attitude, personality, a point of view. It's
yes.
not just a name, it's a vibe.
No.
How did the Carbon Queen come about, and what does that identity mean to you personally and as an athlete?
So I'm so glad that you asked. The Carbon Queen actually comes from being called the Carbon Princess, because when I am on group rides, I tend to show up and show out on the group ride. And it was the end of one particular group ride, and my fiance called me like, "Oh, aren't you just a little carbon princess?" And I was like, "You mean queen?" So that's how it came out. Obviously, my bike is carbon. I don't know what I'm gonna do once they come out with a new material for bikes. But that's how the Carbon Queen was created. I believe that all of us are queens, honestly. I believe we're all queens on bikes. And just from one queen to another, I'm just announcing, like, hey, I see myself as a queen, and I hope you see yourself as a queen too.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, that's really good. It feels good to name it and live it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's also not exclusive. Be yourself, if it's
Right.
a queen or not a queen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Um, what did you say?
yes, I'm smiling. I don't know. Oh my God, my cheeks hurt.
Oh, you have a beautiful smile, so keep doing what you're doing. Let's talk a little bit about race strategy and intuition and how you approach competition. So race, it's not just physical, it's also strategy, decision making. For riders who combine neurodivergent and with power and the edge, can make a difference. When are you on the start line or even on the middle of a race? How do you approach strategy, and how much comes from instinct versus structure and preparation?
Ooh, I would say it's definitely 50-50. First and foremost, it starts with the mindset before even showing up to the line. You know, getting your mind right, getting your breath work in order, because there's a lot of anxiety, even for the neurotypicals that compete. When you're neurodivergent, it's like you're fighting it times two, times three, times 10. So definitely talking with my coach plays a huge role in me leading up to the start line. My coach is David Listholm of CIS Cycling and Training Systems. And he is very much like, I would say, Dr. Phil meets Ray Lewis meets Oprah. Like, he's like all in one. That's
Can I
before we,
give him a call?
yes, please give him a call. That's before we even talk about the physical racing component. It's all about the mental and emotional intelligence. It's very big on mental and emotional intelligence, because when it comes to racing, we all tend to fall victim to our ego, you know? And when the ego is driving, we tend to do things that are not as wise as we should be doing. So we
Yes.
have to check ourselves. We have to check our ego. Make sure we're not having any type of imposter syndrome. Making sure that we're actually utilizing visualization and seeing what it is you want to accomplish and how do you plan on executing that. That's before we get to the line. Now, once we're in the line, me speaking for myself personally, I just hyper focus. I get like my pre dopamine. I just hyper focus, and then in the middle of the race, you got the dopamine, you got the adrenaline. It's just like tunnel vision, and it's all systems go at that point. And now I'm just replaying the things that I've heard in my head, that I've been told, as far as the moves that I want to make, and just making sure that I'm executing everything that I've learned. You know, ultimately, I have everything that I need inside of me. And we all do. We all do. Like, I honestly feel like 60% is confidence and mindset. Everything else is training and preparation and all of that. But if you have your mind where it needs to be, it will take you everywhere you need to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, everything you're saying, I'm just nodding because, the whole ego thing, like when someone is passing you and you're like, no, instead of sticking with your training plan.
Yes.
Well, not training plan, race strategy. And also, the mindset of talking to yourself. And I can say this for myself because my mind is my worst enemy. It doesn't matter how strong I am, when I start to get tired, there's so much conversation going inside my head, fighting the negative voice of like, you're tired, you can do it, or
Shut up, legs.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
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 You really, you can train so much. You can only train so much. And it doesn't matter how much training you do if you can't execute.
Yeah.
Execution. And you properly execute when you tell your ego to shut up, you take a deep breath, and you do what you need to do when you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. And how do you balance all that? Because now we live in data era, right? Like it's so easy to train by numbers, but
Mm-hmm.
like you're talking now, like there's also intention and feel and context than what's alone. So how do you balance the structured training with listening to your body, specifically with the neuro factors,
Mm-hmm.
also like fatigue and focus?
I balance it by not looking at the numbers when I'm training. When I look on my bike computer, I have certain things hidden on purpose, just so I can connect what I'm feeling at the time of completing the training. It's like a blind study in a sense. Like, I don't know that I've just hit 200 watts for a period of 30 minutes. I don't know until after the fact, you know? So
Yeah.
it's almost like a surprise to me when I execute the training and then I look at my stats and I'm just like, oh, like I felt great when I think if I would have seen the numbers, my mind would have tricked itself like you're working too hard. You're fatigued. You should be fatigued going 300 watts. What are you doing? Like, no, like I keep that part blind until after the fact. Also, well, that's when I'm training outside. When I'm training on Zwift, you see the numbers as it's happening.
Yeah.
And I have to tell myself to ignore the numbers, just ignore the numbers, focus on cadence, focus on output, but just ignore mostly power. Mostly power is what I'm trying to not focus on, because that's all the rave is power, 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 right? We want to know how many watts we can sustain over a period of
Yeah.
time, but ultimately I'm trying to focus on the basics and the fundamentals, and I know the power and the speed will follow after that.
Yes. Yes. And it's so easy to get caught up on those numbers
Mhm.
of, your speed and your watts. I
Yeah.
do the same thing. It's so funny you said that. I do the same thing and I feel like I do so much better not knowing, uh and even when I'm not even looking at watts or quote unquote watts don't matter, but like if I have if I'm doing an ultra cycling event, I don't want to know when a climb is coming. I don't want to know how long is this climb, because then I'm already defeated. I didn't even get to the climb. I'm already suffering. Oh my God. Average 7%, 10 kilometers climb. I'm already suffering. So like I don't want to know. Don't want to
Now, I
know.
will admit, the climbing feature, I need to be warned in advance. I need to prepare. I need to get my mind right. I don't want to be surprised, because when I'm surprised with a wall, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to be.
Yeah, no. And I was actually riding in Rwanda and we had a big climb. I was doing as a pair with my BFF Juliet, and we decided to rest and do the climb, start at 2 a.m. because it would be cooler. And we did that, and just because it was nighttime and I couldn't even see the climb, it was such a smooth ride, so that's when I started to hide numbers, and I don't want to
Okay.
see it because I just do better. But again, it's all about the mindset, right? And knowing yourself, because you want to be warned and I don't want to be warned, and you do better warned and I do better not knowing, you
Yes,
know
especially when I'm leading a group ride, I tend to do this hand signal.
mm-hmm.
This hand signal for everyone who's behind me means that we're approaching a climb.
A hill, a
And
climb,
that's
got it.
because I need to get in the right gearing.
Mm,
Depending on the pace, if we're going 10, 15 miles per hour, then you have enough time. But if we're gunning it and it's
yeah.
all gas and no brakes, and then where there's an incline, I'm letting people know, like, get in the right gear, because there's a climb coming up right now.
I like that. That makes sense. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about leading rides. I know you also work with Zwift. Um, So what's your role with Zwift so you lead rides on Zwift, you lead rides outside. Tell
Yes.
me a little bit more and how you connect with other riders.
Yes, I'm a brand ambassador for Zwift. My goal is to get more people signed up on Zwift, and having access to different equipment. You know, I have currently the Zwift bike and it's set up to the Wahoo Smart Trainer. Um, and so that's ultimately just showing people like, look, if you're not able to go outside and ride your bike, there's an alternative over here. And you don't have to worry about taking, not all of us have the pleasure of more than one bike.
Yeah.
I have one bike, you know, so that's my bike. So having the Zwift bike and the Zwift trainer is great because I don't have to worry about
Yeah.
taking it on at all. Also, emotionally and mentally, sometimes I don't have what it takes to convince my mind to go and pick out a kit, go and make sure everything's charged, heart rate monitor, like everything that goes into getting on the bike to go outside is literally cut by like 80% for when you're getting on Zwift. And it's
Yes.
really been clutch on the days where I'm extremely sad or I'm just unmotivated, you know, and I'm just like, I don't have what it takes. But then I look at my bike and it's like, just put on some bibs and some shoes. Like half the time, I don't even have a bra on or anything. I'm just like, all I need are bibs, socks, and shoes, and a water bottle and a heart rate monitor. You can do Zwift like half naked and get your workout in.
No shoes, no shirt, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Knowing that kind of gives my brain a little bit of a relief because I'm like, that's not too bad. I don't have to look for a route or figure out is what's the weather or is it traffic outside. There's so many things that come
Yes.
up for me to go outside. To be able to just hop on my bike is a lifesaver, literally a lifesaver.
Yeah, I
Um,
couldn't agree more. I really enjoy training. I mean, I love going outside.
mhm,
Nothing replaces that. But like for me, I also need structure. So during the week, because I work, it's really hard to, like you said, put all the clothes on. Is how is the weather? What am I going to ride? What is my training to decide the route? And all the time that you put into that. So it's just easier for me. Wake up. I don't even need to do my hair, like you said. You don't need to do a braid or anything. Just get on the trainer,
yes,
and that's it.
that's
You're
it.
done. Your workout is done. You can go
Yes,
about your day.
yes.
Because I was getting so stressed because I was trying to go out and then I wouldn't be able to go out. And then it's too late. The day's almost over or I'm tired and I didn't get my workout done. So I was just like, I told my coach, listen, we're going to do indoor training Monday through Friday. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And as a mom, it can be stressful as well trying to train outside because
Yeah.
there's been plenty of times my workout took longer than expected and I'm looking at the clock like I've got to hurry up and get home so I can go and pick up my daughter from school. Um,
Yeah.
the thing about being on an indoor trainer on Zwift is the fact that I can do it before she goes to school in the morning, before she wakes
Yeah.
up. You know, I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about coming back home. It's right here in the corner. Or if I do it in the afternoon, I don't have to worry about trying to make it back home in time. It's more flexible that way. It's more
Yeah.
accessible.
That's a very good point. You don't need a babysitter. You don't need anything. You can just be there. If your kid wakes up, you're there.
Even at night. Even at
Yeah.
night. When it's not safe to ride at night, even if you have all the lights in the world, I can just hop on my trainer. You know, if I can't
Yeah.
sleep, getting on the trainer is the best way to cure insomnia, hands down. You get on that
Yeah.
trainer, you're riding, you ride for 30, 45 minutes, an hour. Next thing you know, you're like, I'm ready to go to sleep.
Yeah. And do you have Zwift rides that people can join?
Uh, Actually, I am just in the beginning stages of hosting group rides on Zwift.
Awesome.
That's more so things that I do in the off season. Now
Okay.
that it is effectively race season, I don't have any current Zwift rides scheduled. But when I do, they will be posted on One of Us cycling group on Zwift.
Awesome. Okay. We'll be on the lookout for that.
Hmm.
Every athlete has moments that test them physically, mentally, or emotionally. Often it's what happens after those moments that defines the next chapter. Looking back, do you have any of those challenges or turning points that shaped you the most?
Ooh, I will say my first place podium win came in my first year of racing. It was at the Harlem Skyscraper in Harlem, New York, this past race season 2025. It was very impactful for me because I had crashed earlier in the year in 2025. My race season, I never really had a full race season. It was like a couple of races, and then I got into a crash. And then it was like healing. I didn't have a coach at first, but then I realized if I was going to have any success at this A race, Harlem was an A race for me. If I was going to have any success, I was going to need help. I wasn't going to be able to do it by myself. And so that's when I got David as my coach. And it was the combination of healing from the crash and training, because when you're healing and training, you have to do things very specifically, because
Yeah.
if you
You don't want to
over
have a setback.
exactly, if you overtrain, it'll prolong your healing. But if you don't train enough, you're not going to reach, the goals that you want to accomplish. And so when I showed up to Harlem, I want to say 2 or 3 days before Harlem, everyone's going on their shakeout rides. Everyone's, who's traveled there or lives there, they're going on their shakeout rides. They're getting their legs, warmed up and acclimated to being in Harlem. And I'm just kind of just chilling for the most part. And I felt like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. But my coach just told me, he's like, everything that you need is already in you. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do in these pre 3 days that's going to determine whether or not you win or lose. Everything that's going to determine whether or not you win or lose, you've already done the work. Now it's time to execute on the field. And so I just chilled. I just relaxed and chilled. And, on race day, I warmed up and it rained. I was like, oh my God,
Oh,
prepared to go full gas in the rain, you know. But I had some help with how to be safe racing in the rain. And I won. And I won.
amazing.
I was a little stressed because I didn't have like the pre-race pep talk. I looked for my coach. He said he was there, and I looked for him and I could not find him. I rode all around the course,
Wow.
and I later found out that he deliberately hid from me because he told me everything that I needed to say. I've already told you. I've already told you. Just do what I
Wow.
told you to do. And I did what he told me to do. And
That was a big lesson for you. Also, build huge trust
yes,
on his planning and strategy for you.
yes. Trust the process. Just trust the process.
Wow. Very, very cool. Congratulations on that one. That's huge.
Thank you. Thank you. And I know, like, even if I don't win it again or don't win another race, to me, that will be my glory story until the day that I die. So my coming back from a crash and healing and then winning first, that like I'm whole. I'm complete.
You earned that high, and you should feel that high every time you tell that story and or play it in your mind. You
Yeah,
earned that one.
yeah.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about training on Zwift helps you balance, like being a mom and things like that. But how else do you balance cycling with life outside the sport? Relationship, rest, nutrition, personal time?
I love that you asked me that question because the word that stands out to me the most is rest. You know, burnout is a real thing. Physical and mental burnout is a real thing. And I feel like our dreams, our goals, and our ambitions sometimes lead us to believe that rest isn't a sign of it leads us to believe that rest isn't necessary. And sometimes we think that if we choose to rest or say no, that we're somehow not committed, we're not dedicated, we're not disciplined, we're not motivated, and it's really being honest with yourself. That's how I balance everything, being in touch, being in tune, and being honest with myself. I have a workout scheduled. I'm not feeling it. Is the not feeling it me being lazy? Or do I really need to get a few more hours of sleep tonight so I can wake up tomorrow and do the training that's prescribed for tomorrow? Because it's not just about quantity, it is about quality. There's been times where I have just sucked it up because like physically I was tired, my legs were dead. I wasn't recovering properly from my previous workouts. And so I had a workout plan and I did the workout anyway, but it was trash. It was absolutely trash. And my coach could see that it was trash based on the metrics. He was just why even do it if you're not going to do it? And I'm just like, well, I don't want to miss the training. He's like, well, technically you did because you weren't able to execute the training. It's as good as not doing it at all. And so I had to start listening to my body and saying, is my body in a position to give a quality output based on the way that I'm feeling? Or am I just being lazy? Am I just just being honest, like having real honest conversations with myself? Having a routine helps a lot. Having a schedule helps a lot.
Yeah.
Knowing I can see my schedule a month in advance, 2 months in advance. That helps a lot. I need reminders. I need things on the calendar. I need invites and invitations. Like those things help a lot. So
Me too.
yeah, to answer your question, it's just making sure that you have a routine, making sure you can see things visibly to stay on track, and being honest with yourself, and making sure that the people in your corner are there to support you and they understand. If I can't go to that group ride because I'm training, you support that. You're not judging me or guilt tripping me. My partner
Yes.
knows that, I have 2-hour training block where I'm not going to be able to go and run errands with you because I got to get this training done. Or even when I haven't gotten my training done and my partner goes, what's on your training today? And I'm like, he's like, go hop on that trainer and get your workout done. It all helps.
Yeah, having a support system is major. And you
Yes.
touched on something that I felt seen, um, which is, executing the training. It's so important because I have a new coach now, and I loved when he actually called me out. He's just like, "I'll give you a seven for execution." I was like, "What?" And yeah, and then I had this wake up call that sometimes, yeah, I am also a little bit lazy, and I need to have those conversations with myself where I'm obsessed of getting those greens on Training Peaks. So I'll just do a little bit, I'll get the green, and I'm good. No, I'm not, because I'm not really executing. So what am I doing?
No, no. And what are you training for? Is it just health and fitness, or what are you training for specifically?
Yeah, right now it's health and fitness because I always raced and I was very focused on ultra cycling, but I don't have the time right now and I don't have the racing bug right now. I mean, I love it and I want to do it, but I'm being honest with myself that I just don't have the drive right now because ultra racing takes a lot out of your body. You need to endure the suffering. So I'm just training for fitness and wellness and for adventures on my own pace.
I think that's a part of cycling or even competing as an athlete that we tend to forget about. I know myself, when someone tells me they just ride for fun, I admire that because I don't know how to be okay right now with just riding for fun. My life without racing, I don't see that. As long as I'm physically and mentally able to race my bike, I want to race my bike. And at the same time, I would love to like not have this bug, that I have, and to just be okay with just riding my bike or even riding my bike by myself. Like I look at pictures of when I was just a solo cyclist, and when I think of riding my bike by myself now, I'm just like, no, I want to do rides with people. Like that's my jam now. So I admire people who don't have the desire to race. I admire the people who don't even have a desire or the need to ride in groups. I think those are the real like unsung heroes because they've figured something out that I haven't figured out yet.
I don't know, I hear what you're saying and I agree, but it took me a
Yeah.
while to get here and to accept this. Like last year, I did a few races and I DNF because I wasn't in it. And then I was like, why am I forcing myself? But it's hard because it was also my identity for so many years of racing, 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 racing. And I don't know myself without racing.
Hmm.
But I think also having a coach, I'm not letting go of a coach, right? Right. So it's someone to keep me in check and build my performance, make sure that working on my fitness. And I do have those trips, even though it's not racing, at least I have trips where I'm going to be with friends and I need to keep up.
Hmm.
So, but it took a while and I still think on back of my head, like I will be back. I will be back.
Hmm.
But
And even if you're not back, that's okay too.
yeah,
Ultimately,
it
it's
is.
about riding a bike, no matter if you're racing or riding for fun by yourself or in a group. As long as you're on your bike, that should just give you everything that you need. You know,
Yeah.
I'm I want to be in tune with myself enough and accepting of myself enough to when racing is no longer for me, that my love for cycling doesn't disappear with racing. I don't want to like, oh, I don't want to race anymore, therefore I don't want to ride my bike at all. Like I
Yeah.
want to still find joy in just riding my bike, whether I'm racing it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I cannot picture life without a bike. No
Yeah.
way. Even if
Yeah.
I have to switch to an e-bike in 20, 30 years, I'll be cycling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so every athlete's journey keeps evolving, new goals, new challenge, new perspective. What's next for you? Any goals, races, projects, ideas that you're excited about?
My goal is to expand my reach as a African American 30s, second chance athlete, um, veteran, neurodivergent, neurospicy woman. Just want someone, no matter the race, gender, color, background, I want someone to see where I've come from and what I'm doing, and I want them to be inspired to do something in their life. What they're inspired to do might not even be cycling related. I just want them to see my tenacity. I want them to see my heart and my desire to have an impact in this sport, to really establish a cycling community and define what it means to have community authentically. You know, a lot of communities are communities by optics, you know, but the inner workings of the community that they're displaying don't match, you know. So my goal is for what you see on the outside is what you're getting on the inside as a community leader, as an advocate, as a cyclist, as a competitive cyclist, bridging the gap between the two, being an inspiration, impacting lives, and changing communities one ride at a time.
Wow, beautifully said. And I think I saw some of that, and that's why I wanted you to come on the podcast. And I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much. The Carbon Queen. Double E.
Thank you for having me so much. It was truly an honor. I respect your work. I've seen so many of your podcasts. And when I was asked to be on, I had a little bit of an imposter syndrome moment. I was just like, are you sure you have the right email address? So thank you for having me, and definitely providing me with a space and letting me know that I do belong here and I am welcome here. And thank you for seeing that.
You are a star. So keep on inspiring us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And that's all for today's episode. I want to thank the listeners for tuning in. Your support means everything. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider following, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends.